Today we're taking a look at a 2013 Chevy Express 4500. Now this is it's a van chassis. It's actually used as a school bus, but you'll see the same chassis used in both Class B motorhome applications, vans, as well as some Class C applications as well. And I'll also mention that while some of the components are somewhat unique to this particular setup, the Chevy and GMC pickups, 3/4 and 1 ton, are very similar in their layout in terms of steering geometry, so a lot of the same principles apply there. And also just in general, any independent front suspension vehicle that does not use rack and pinion steering, principles tend to be very similar. So with that, let's go ahead and start looking at how to check for steering play.
Tech Time Tuesday.
So Donnie, go ahead and start rocking it. All right, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna start with the steering gear and work our way down through the steering linkage. So this is our steering gearbox. So you've got your input shaft, which attaches up to your steering wheel. That goes into the steering gear, and then this is your sector shaft or output from the steering gear. So first, we're gonna look, is there looseness or play in the steering gear itself? Now, there's a few different types of play that we could have. One is just general, just slop in the gearbox, where we're turning it, turning the input, but we're not seeing a movement on that Pitman arm on the output shaft side. So this is our Pitman arm, which attaches to the sector shaft or output of the steering gear. And what we will do, we'll take a look at that input shaft. All right, so I'm seeing that Pitman arm move. So the problem is I'm not seeing it move the way I want it to. So what the type of play that we could adjust out of this would be if we were moving our input and this arm was not moving at all. If that were the case, we have an adjuster on the opposite side of our sector shaft here. So you've got a jam nut and basically a screw that you would turn either with a slotted screwdriver or feels like in this case an Allen. And so you would loosen up that jam nut and then tighten that. You would tend to go not too much at a time, maybe 1/8 quarter turn at a time, just gradually adjusting that up to get that slop out. Again, that's if it were just general looseness. But the problem is that, like I said, I'm seeing movement, but it's not the type of movement I want. From the right angle, what you can see is there is actually side play. Go a little bit harder. So that whole shaft, the output shaft, sector shaft on the steering gear is not just rotating, it's actually moving side to side. A little lighter. Yeah, there you can see it pretty well. So that shaft is not really rotating so much as moving side to side there. So that indicates, unfortunately, that this steering gear itself has developed some wear and would require a rebuild or a replacement unit in order to take care of that play. So again, that's the steering gear. So we're looking for any slop that could be adjusted out or signs of play that would indicate the unit needs to be replaced, which again is what we're seeing here. All right, so next we're going to look at our Pitman arm. Again, this is our Pitman arm, which connects to the steering gear. That connects to our center link here. All right, so now we're looking at this joint here where our Pitman arm attaches to the center link. There's a little bit of play there, but overall that looks pretty good. So our Pitman arm actually doesn't look too bad where it attaches to the center link. So this is our tie rod here. So where the tie rod attaches to the center link, we're looking for play here. I'm not seeing a lot of movement there. It looks like that joint is actually, there's maybe a little bit there. A little bit of movement. You can kind of feel just a little bit there. It's a little bit harder to see with this style of tie rod, but what you're looking for is all of this moving as one unit, or is this compressing, this getting closer to the center link and that joint popping in and out. So there is just a little bit of a pop there. It's very slight. Now we're going to go to the outer tie rod end over here. Don't really see any movement there. That looks to be in pretty good shape. Okay, now we'll go across. So across our center link to the other side. So with this style of front end, you've got basically you've got two arms controlling the path that the center link moves through. So one is your Pitman arm, the other is your idler arm over here, which is essentially parallel to your Pitman arm. Your idler arm attaches to the idler up here, and there's maybe a little bit of movement there. What we see quite often, these factory idlers, they use bushings, and those bushings can develop where even when they're brand new, you can get some side-to-side play in there. So go ahead and let go of the wheel, Donnie. I'm going to grab the center link and just demonstrate one way of checking for movement here. So what we're doing, it's a little bit hard to see because you're actually moving the whole thing up and down. Watch how much movement. I'm grabbing the Pitman arm itself, or sorry, I'm grabbing the idler arm itself here. Watch how much movement we get in this up and down relative to the frame. And I'm not putting a pry bar or anything on that. I'm grabbing it on the idler itself, so that removes all of this, because there is some, you do get some articulation there on that joint, but I get more leverage out here. So this joint does rotate, but this whole arm, you can see doing it that way as well. That idler arm is moving up and down as well. And again, a lot of that is just kind of nature of the beast with the design of the factory idler. And I will talk later in the video about a solution we have for that. But before we get to that, I want to stop. If this video is providing value to you, I want to ask you to like and subscribe, so that way you don't miss out on content like that. So please ring that bell so that you get notified for future videos like this. Thank you. All right, I'm going to go ahead and take the camera for a second. So Donnie, thanks for continuing to rock that. All right, so again, this is our idler arm. Don't see too much play there. I'm just wrapping up here where our idler connects to our tie rod end. We're looking at that. Do we feel any popping in there? Just a little bit. There is a little bit of movement happening, a little bit of in and out there. The tie rod, inner tie rod ends are, I would say, marginal. We'll wrap up here with the outer tie rod end. So again, now we're looking for side-to-side play. Overall, that looks pretty good. Now here, let's take a look from the front here on that idler arm, or on that idler, just to see what it looks like. So here's the idler where it attaches to the frame. Essentially, it's a pivot point. So you've got bushings in here, and then your arm attaches here, and that arm, then the other end of it attaches to the center link and just controls the motion of that center link. So you can see that all moving back and forth there. All right, Donnie, that's good. Thanks for rocking the wheel. Okay, now that we've checked everything with the engine off, we're checking it with the engine running. We're going to see if there's any differences in how the steering gear acts, as well as anything else just behaving differently with more load. So still, we see there's a fair amount of side play still. A little lighter, Donnie. Yeah, there you can really see it, that you're not just getting a rotation there. You're getting side-to-side movement in that sector. We are going to go ahead, we'll try adjusting that a little bit just to confirm, but typically adjusting that is not going to make a difference when you got that side-to-side play. That's more of a wear issue where a rebuild would be required. Now, we do see another issue. Go a little harder. Watch that center link. See that center link jumping? See a little bit of up and down movement there? So where before, where that idler arm connects to the center link, we weren't seeing that play. Occasionally you can see a little harder. There we go. Yeah, see that up and down movement there? Even a little bit now. So you don't want that up and down movement in that center link. You can even see a little bit now in the Pitman arm too, where it connects to the center link. now that we're checking with the engine running. So with that bit of extra load, you're definitely getting more movement, and you're really revealing more issues with these joints. We'll go back and look at our tie rods again. Outer tie rod still looks okay. The inner, what you want to do, grab that, see if you feel a popping, which you can. I would recommend replacing the tie rods as well while you're at it. I would say they're borderline. Can definitely see a little bit of movement though, in and out on that end. It's hard to see on the camera, but outer tie rod end looks okay. And in the idler itself, you can really see, a little more of that side-to-side movement now. Again, where we would recommend going to the better idler. Yeah, if you come from in here, you can see a little bit how that shaft. Now coming in here, you can see a little bit how that shaft, we got just a little bit of side-to-side play in that as well. So there you have it. Recommend checking everything first from the gearbox down with engine off. And then just to make sure you don't miss anything, start it up. See how the gearbox acts again with that fluid pressurized in it. And then everything else in the steering under the greater load from having the engine running.
Thanks, Donnie.
Thanks, Donnie. All right, so now that we've looked at everything on here, everything that we've looked at, I would say that the biggest issue really is that steering gear, just the amount of side-to-side play you've got in the gearbox itself. Inner tie rod ends, both of them have a little bit of popping, so those probably due for replacement. The idler itself, somewhat typical side play, not the worst that we've seen, but I do want to take this moment to talk about what I mentioned being a limitation of that factory design, the bushings, where it's really hard to get all of the side play out with a bushing style design, because you're basically relying on a film of oil or grease within the unit to be your bearing surface, right? You don't want it to be so stiff that your steering is totally bound up, but you also don't want it to be so free moving that you get a lot of side play. So we actually have developed a solution for that. This is our SS175, or this is the black unit, actually the XK175, but same as our SS175. So this mounts right in there, replaces that unit, and what's unique about ours, this contains tapered roller bearings instead of a bushing design. So this is going to be a very, very precise turning unit. The nice thing about tapered roller bearings is that it's like a wheel bearing where you can adjust all of your side play out without having it be overly stiff. So definitely would recommend, if you have a Chevy Express like this unit and you're dealing with some side play, would recommend you consider our idler. That can be a really nice upgrade compared to even a brand new factory design style unit. Same with the GM pickups as well. The SS175 works on the earlier 3/4 and 1 ton GM pickups, and then we have our SS180 on the newer units as well. So with all that, I hope that this video was helpful to you, just talking about some common causes of steering play, what to look for. Please let us know in the comments below what you thought, if you have any questions, if there's something you'd like for us to cover next time. And until next time, we want to wish you safer and happier driving. Thank you.
Tech Time Tuesday.